What's up, people? We are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. In the previous video, we had what seemed to be at first a really innocent birthday party for Hanako, and then kind of turned into a drinking, booze, wine fest because of Akira. So yeah, Akira brought like 2 bottles of wine, and we consumed them both, all 3 of us, me, Hanako, as well as Lilly. So I'm guessing we're kind of hungover, and we all slept over at Lily's place. So yeah, it's kind of fun to see what's going to happen in the aftermath now. So let us continue. Hisao? Hisao, are you? The soft, barely audible voice lingering in my ears slowly wakes me. I wish I could be awoken like this more often. With a mumble, I slowly open my... Whoa! Taken by surprise at the face hovering curiously mere millimeters away from mine, I make our heads collide with a harsh thud. The impact of our foreheads causes both of us to fall backwards and yelp in pain. Lilly sounded more like a squeak toy than a person. Ow, ow, ow! I slowly rub my forehead with one hand, supporting myself with the other. Lilly lies a few feet ahead, doing just the same, her face obviously pained. Sorry, your face was kinda close, and I acted on reflex. Are you okay? My head. It seems like she's not actually okay. Come to think of it, I doubt that the impact alone is what's causing her head so much pain. Hangover? You drank a fair bit last night. She silently nods in confirmation. As I lever myself up, I offer a hand to her and help her back onto her feet. Glancing behind her, I find that Hanako is still asleep. Oh my god, look at those silky smooth white legs. Okay, we actually gotta look at that. We gotta check that out. Look at that, that's like freaking porcelain. Holy crap. Unless those are like sweatpants or shorts or tights or whatever, which I really doubt because she's wearing shorts, right? Dang. I've never realized how, like, kind of pale her skin looks. Dang, Lilly. It's not fair. I only drank as much as you did. That's very different from what I remember. And anyway, girls have a lower tolerance than men. Generally. Not always, but usually, yeah. That doesn't help. Fine. I'll get you a glass of water. Just be careful not to trip over Hanako. I mean, the thing is, whenever I used to drink a lot, which was never, of course, because I don't drink at all, but the thing is, the best kind of thing that I actually never got hangovers, because I kind of knew how to prevent them, because it's always better to prevent than to cure, and the thing that I would always do, I would just consume like 3-4 glasses of water before I would go to sleep. No matter how, how much I drank before the night or whatever, I always remember to just drink a lot of water before I go to sleep, and then I never got a hangover, like never had a headache or anything along those lines because of that. So yeah, I guess that's sort of a tip for you guys, for the people that didn't know and who are eventually going to be using that, Just drink a shit ton of water, that's my advice. I rub the sleep out of my eyes, or at least some of it, as I walk to the counter. Tending to someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend the morning. It only takes a few seconds for the glass to fill, the clear water reflecting the silver of light that makes it through the thin curtains. It looks like Lily's taking a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her, while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako, and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. I take a seat next to her, the soft bed having a surprising amount to give. She drinks slowly and methodically. A long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. With some measure of guilt, I look at Lily's face and attempt to read her expression. Her brow is furrowed, and she looks to be lost in thought. For a moment, I hesitate, but eventually place a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch. rather noticeably at that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Lily quickly shakes her head, in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her. She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. I must look terrible right now. I moved to protest, and quickly realized that it would be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. Oh my god. I guess that's gotta be like a female instinct, you know? Even though Lily can't even see herself because she's blind, she's still worried about her looks, like the first thing in the morning when there's a guy around. That's usually what my experience with girls always do. You know, when there's a guy like, oh my god, I look terrible, don't look at me, or like, don't, or they start to hide, or you know. And despite the fact that she can't even see what she looks like herself, and she probably couldn't do much about it either. So it's kind of funny that that's the first thing she says, but perhaps it's just a female instinct to like, oh no, I look terrible, there's a guy around in the morning. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. Lily gives a self-deprecating snort, as if to mock her own emotions. There's just a lot happening right now. I'm sorry for being so strange recently, especially back when we were in town. Even now, I'm a bit confused about everything. Believe me, I know how that feels. She smiles wistfully, resting a cheek on the backs of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we? Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out into the real world. The real world? Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange, divorced feeling of Yamaku and the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange, in hindsight. Being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A wry grin on her face, Lily seems to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or two. Soon! No, Lily, don't leave me! What? Is that why we had to reschedule Hanako's birthday party? She gives an affirmative nod. Why is she going back? Yeah, family issues probably, most likely, but still. No. Like, what about school? What about me? You'll be able to see your family again at least. You're not looking forward to it? I haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore. Wait. What? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means she'd have been only 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents, with what with both of them working long hours. But that's... I feel utterly useless as I struggle to find some way to respond. But why? Why did they leave? Or why are they inviting Akira and me back? Both, I suppose. My father's business has its headquarters in Scotland, and an executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him, but Akira and I stayed in Japan for the sake of both Akira's job with the Japanese branch of my father's company and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick. Oh no. I'm sorry. Don't be. It feels strange. Really. We're being summoned there for her, yet we've merely been met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice. Equally strange is the total lack of antipathy. Antipathy? Isn't it empathy? I guess antipathy could be a word, but I've never heard of it, so I'm assuming it might be empathy. I don't know. She feels towards her family for doing such a thing. I can't help feeling slightly humbled. That said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. Knowing what to do, I lift myself off the bed. Lee notices the bed's movements. her head perking up and her hand reaching sideways to feel where I was. Hisao? I walk over to my bag, still leaning against the wall, unbuckling the front flap and retrieving the opaque bag from within. I take the small, plain box in my hands. Hold your hands out, Lilly. She looks surprised for a moment, but eventually, acquiesces? What? Acquiesces. Oh my god, what a word. I can't even look it up online now, to look for the proper pronunciation. Acquiesces, blah. Okay, too hard. I'm amused by her look of curiosity when I place the music box into her open palms. Her typically delicate way of handling it, making it seem as if it were fragile enough to break if breathed upon. She wordlessly brings it in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out its contours and patterning. Eventually her fingers find a recessed line between the lid and the body of the box, and her thumb effortlessly pops open the lid. It's so beautiful. So that's why he bought that. I was wondering. I thought as a present for Hanako? But it makes sense, right? Because buying a gift for Lilly is gotta be you gotta think a little bit differently, And I feel like you gotta think of more like something that might be, if you're going to be buying a gift that is not very practical to use, sometimes you have gifts which you can actually use. Sometimes it's just gift that's oh yeah, this is really cool, and it's just sort of how do you call those types of gifts? I don't know exactly. Not for just for show or something, but something that's just kind of like a souvenir or something. I don't know, but sometimes you have useful gifts, like people buy, okay, the worst gift ever, I don't know, fucking toilet paper is the first thing that comes to mind. Like, that is a gift. They're like, oh thanks, I can use this, because you use it in your everyday life, or it's just something that you use a lot. Like, I guess a watch could work as well. That's something you put on your wrist, you look at it every couple of times during the day, so that's a useful and practical gift as well. But for Lilly, most of those things don't apply. So you have to think of something special, and then obviously one of her increased senses would be her sense of hearing, and she probably kind of appreciates music. Is probably one of the things that blind people appreciate more as well, because that's sort of another form of, it's a form of entertainment that they can actually enjoy, despite their limitation. Like movies, they can't really enjoy that, they can't watch it. TV, they can't really watch that either. So music and just sound in general has got to be something that they appreciate much more because of that. Therefore, something like a music box like her might be really, really special to her. So, yeah, it makes much more sense that he actually bought this as a gift for Lilly. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intently. She sits completely motionless as she listens to the diminutive, tinny melody, her mouth just slightly open. It takes a long while before she closes the lid with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. A restless shuffling can be heard from the floor in front of us, the sound having woken Hanako. Oh, she climbs out of the blankets I put over her, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. I see you're finally up. What? Hanako looks around the room with her eyes only half open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lilly chuckle. Does she even remember what happened yesterday? As Lilly gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. I guess I'd better get going then. There'll be questions if I am seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Goodbye, Hisao. Oh, goodbye. I stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. After I leave the room and enter the hallway though, I hear Lily's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? Without a word, she strides up to me. I freeze as I feel her hand slide onto my cheek, seemingly every nerve taking in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a light, momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absent-mindedly bring my fingers to my cheek, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lily. That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you for your present. Have a nice day in school. And with that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it. The muffled voices of her and Hanako audible through it, much as they were yesterday night. I think I'd be hard-pressed not to have a nice day after that. Oh my god, she kissed us on the cheek. I walk away with a certain spring to my step. I think there were some people around that glanced at me emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. Oh my god, she kissed us on the cheek. So that's what I mean, you know? I feel like this route with Lily has sort of just been a more traditional love story in a sense as well, you know? It's just been like, two people kind of getting along, and then slowly, eventually kind of they like each other from a very early moment, and then slowly, eventually, they're kind of falling in love with each other. And it feels much more conventional in comparison to like the Emmy route, even though that was kind of, you know, it was a little bit similar, but it was kind of crazy as well, you know, because of Emmy. But here it just kind of feels like very normal and just a very sweet, I guess, sort of just love story in a sense, and I'm really enjoying that a lot. He-chan! Go away. He-chan! Leave me alone! Come on, He-chan! Let me sleep. After 2 nights of not being able to sleep at all, the last thing I want is to be woken when I finally manage to. It may be the last period of class, with a textbook as my pillow, but I'll take whatever sleep I can get by this point. See, He-chan, even Shi-chan wants you to get up. I don't care what Shizune wants. Leave me alone. Jeez, He-chan, I'll just have to wake. Wait, Misha's going to... You... This is bad. I'm up! You don't have to... I can feel my face flowering into a scarlet red blush. The students still in class are sitting bolt upright and staring at the shouting fool who was sleeping just moments before. Damn it! I let my head smack down onto the table with a noticeable thud. Misha's trademark uncontrolled laughter reverberates throughout the classroom. As I turn my mournful eyes to the bespectacled Shizune beside her, she carefully adjusts her glasses, desperately trying to maintain a look of serious disapproval. I look at Shizune so differently now for some reason, just because we know that she has sort of like a brother that kind of looks like, and it actually looked like, oh my god, like the Hideaki, the way that he was dressed, it was a more of a girlish uniform than Shizune is wearing right now, right? And for some reason they just kind of look very similar, but I don't know, I don't think they are twins, right? I don't think they're twins, but you can definitely kind of tell, like, okay, they're related and they look really similar as well. Oh my god. I can't stop laughing or help laughing at Hideaki and Shizune, and just at the thought that they are related, and the fact that she even has a brother like that. Narrowing my eyes, I can see the badly hidden grin spreading across her face. Et tu, Shizune? Shizune looks away quickly as she crosses her arms tightly, barely on the edge of her control. Misha's laughter doubles in volume as she glances at Shizune. All I can do is drag my hand down my face in resignation. You two.
Who was the one who slept in class, Shi-chan?
Yeah. It was me.
Poor Shi-chan was having a fit trying to wake you up, weren't you?
I move my eyes back to the standoffish Shizune, who with a single huff of confirmation returns to looking away with her arms crossed. Why was Shizune trying to wake me up?
Shi-chan wanted you to give the handouts the substitute teacher gave out while Hi-chan was sleeping.
Handouts? I suddenly find 2 sheets of paper thrust down in front of my face. What is this? Words? I can't read words right now. I say while reading the words of the visual novel right now. Following the hand holding them, I can see the still pouting figure looking down at me with a distinct scowl. I guess I really am in the wrong here. Sorry about that. No dice. Her irritated face still holds up. I clasp my hands together and flick my head downwards in an apology. Very sorry. She huffs and simply drops the papers on the desk. Damn. I look up over my hands to see Shizune and Misha signing frantically to each other, a look of frustration on Shizune's face. It looks to be less of a dialogue and more of a tirade, punctuated with side-along glances at me. To say it's unsettling is an understatement. The 2 suddenly stop signing and look at me in unison, both having exactly the same look of disapproval. In one fluid motion, Misha's hand suddenly extends high above me and comes down, rocketing down. What? Before I can even hope to react, my head is sent bouncing up and down like a jack-in-the-box. I quickly bring my hands to my head, more out of reflex than actual pain. Ow! What was that for? I open my eyes to see the 2 grinning at each other while exchanging enthusiastic thumbs up.
Shi-chan says she forgives you now, Hi-chan.
Could you forgive me with a little less force next time? I look at the 2 with a blank face. Misha and Shizune, 1. Hisao, 0.
Oh, Shi-chan also says that you should check your student mail more often.
We know what this is. She produces a bright yellow envelope and hands it over with an exuberant grin. Strange. Who could have written me a letter? Now is not the time, and most definitely not the place to find out though. Given up on the nap so cruelly stolen from me, I rub my forehead and slowly get up, putting the sheets and envelope in my bag before swinging it over my shoulder. I take a step back and move to the part with a small bow, while Misha clutches her sides, laughing, and Shizune nods back in a curt farewell. I join the flow of students, exiting the open door, and turn the corner into the hallway. Oh, Hanako, only to end up face to face with Hanako. Whoa, hey Hanako.
Good afternoon, Hisao.
Silence falls between us as busily chatting students pass us by. She's fidgeting constantly, her eyes drawn to her rather unremarkable footwear. I take the bridge of my nose in my fingers while I blink my eyes heavily in an attempt to make things seem clearer. I'm barely staying awake as it is. Hanako, you want to say something. What is it?
I wanted to give you this.
She holds out a small, rectangular piece of paper. I blink again to make out the text through barely open eyes, slowly starting to make out what's written. Eggs 2 times, bread loaf 1 time, whole grain cereal 1 time, thyme 1 time? Is this a grocery list from Lilly? A shopping list? I look upwards, raising an eyebrow.
I usually go shopping with Lilly, but I can't come. So,
You want me to run errands for you?
it's okay if you don't want to. I just thought that maybe,
She's panicking. I sigh. Yet another battle lost, dang. It seems like Hisao loses quite easily, at least when it comes to girls. Though this time, by a weakly fought surrender. I smile tiredly and rest a hand on her head to calm her down. It's fine. I was going to go anyway. Just the stuff on this list? She nods, then bows deeply, twice, as if to make her gratitude perfectly clear.
we're going to meet outside the school gates at 6. Thank you. I was going to get it, but I need to study for the test tomorrow.
Test? Ah, that's right. Science. How are you doing with it? She brightens ever so slightly.
I've been spending more time on it than before. I think I can do okay.
Good work then. She too starts smiling, and much more earnestly than I at that. I have full confidence that I can do fine in it without any extra studying, but the fact that she's putting in the effort instead of just reading the library is heartening. I'll grab your stuff and take it to your dorm in the evening. See ya! With a small wave, we part ways. I'll go do my homework before meeting Lilly. I should be able to take care of it in time. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna have to end the video here. Oh, shopping with Lilly, that's gonna be fun. But definitely the highlight of this video was, dang, Lilly kissed us on the cheek. Like, okay, it was kind of a... It was a bittersweet episode, right? Considering the fact that we also came to learn that Lilly is kind of leaving for 1 or 2 weeks to Scotland. I mean, you know, that's the thing that's always like, I feel like especially the early moments in a relationship, it's kind of all about momentum. And her leaving before, like, you know, before anything is kind of really solid between us in our relationship, I feel like that could actually end up hurting the relationship, even though she doesn't intend for it to be that way, right? But I feel like it's something that could, because at the early stages, it's still kind of fragile in your relationship, right? Because you're trying to build it up. So therefore, her leaving for 1 or 2 weeks might hurt our relationship a little bit, even though it's not really a relationship yet, if you know what I mean, but it's slowly getting there. So, you know, those 1 or 2 weeks that she's gone could put just a stop for a while on that, and it might actually just, you know, slow things, not only slow things down, but actually just go backwards in a sense almost. But that's kind of worst case scenario. I feel like Lilly and Hisao like each other enough to, you know, be able to wait for 1 or 2 weeks and then try and pick things up where they left off. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, but still, the fact that she's also going to be seeing her parents again for the first time in 6 years, yeah, that's gotta be kind of a big emotional thing for her. But luckily she's got Akira there with her, right? So it's not like she has to face this alone. She has Akira there with her. It would have been nice for her to be there, for us to be there for her as well, but unfortunately we can't go to Scotland unless we have to swim, but then we probably would have to leave right now. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video here, so thank you guys so very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.